August 10th, 2019, a man awaiting federal trial was found unresponsive inside one of the most secure correctional facilities in the United States. His name was Jeffrey Epstein. Before his death became a cultural flashpoint, Epstein was known as a wealthy financier who moved comfortably among the global elite. Politicians, billionaires, academics, royalty. He cultivated influence, funded institutions, and maintained connections that spanned continents. But behind that network was a darker reality. In 2008, Epstein pleaded guilty in Florida to charges related to soliciting prostitution from a minor. The plea deal he received was widely criticized as unusually lenient. He served just 13 months in a work release program, allowing him significant freedom during his sentence. More than a decade later, in July 2019, federal prosecutors in New York arrested him again. This time, the charges were far more serious: sex trafficking of minors. Prosecutors alleged that Epstein operated a system that recruited and exploited underage girls for years. If convicted, he faced the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison. He was denied bail, and he was placed inside the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City, a federal jail designed to house high-profile inmates. From that point forward, every detail would matter. On July 23, 2019, just weeks after his arrest, Epstein was found injured in his cell with marks on his neck. The incident was described as a possible suicide attempt, though some reports suggested the injuries may have involved his cellmate at the time. As a precaution, he was placed on suicide watch. Suicide watch in federal custody is intended to be strict. Inmates are monitored closely. Checks are frequent. Items that could be used for self-harm are restricted. But after just 6 days, Epstein was removed from suicide watch. He was transferred to the special housing unit, segregated, but no longer under constant observation. Then came the night of August 9th. Epstein's cellmate had been transferred earlier, leaving him alone. 2 correctional officers assigned to monitor the unit were responsible for conducting checks every 30 minutes. According to later investigations, those checks did not occur as required. The officers reportedly fell asleep for several hours. Records were later found to have been falsified to indicate that checks had been completed. And surveillance cameras positioned outside the tier where Epstein was housed malfunctioned. In the early hours of August 10th, staff entered his cell and found him unresponsive. He was later pronounced dead. The official cause: suicide by hanging. Authorities stated that he used a bedsheet tied to his bunk. The New York City Medical Examiner ruled the death a suicide. The Department of Justice conducted an investigation. 2 correctional officers were charged with falsifying records, though those charges were later resolved through a deferred prosecution agreement. Officially, there was no evidence of homicide. The case was closed. But for many, the circumstances did not sit comfortably. A high-profile defendant, facing life in prison, with powerful connections, previously placed on suicide watch, then removed, left alone, guards asleep, logs falsified, cameras malfunctioning. To some, this was a tragic but straightforward suicide in an underfunded, overworked facility. To others, the combination of failures appeared too convenient to ignore. Further controversy emerged when a private forensic pathologist observing the autopsy on behalf of Epstein's family publicly questioned aspects of the findings, specifically certain fractures in the neck. The official medical examiner responded that the injuries were consistent with hanging and stood by the ruling of suicide. No homicide charges were filed. No public evidence was presented to support murder. And yet, public skepticism grew. Within days, A phrase began circulating online. It became a meme, a slogan, a cultural shorthand for doubt. But the reaction was not only about Epstein, it was about trust. Trust in institutions, trust in accountability, trust that powerful individuals are subject to the same consequences as everyone else. Epstein's death meant he would never stand trial. No public testimony, no cross-examinations, no courtroom reckoning that might reveal the full scope of his associations. For some, that absence became the real story. In the years that followed, another narrative began to circulate. Blurry photographs appeared online, grainy images of men on beaches or outside cafes, side-by-side comparisons claiming resemblance, captions suggesting that Epstein had been extracted, relocated, hidden. Some posts claimed witness protection. Others alleged a staged death. A few insisted the body had been misidentified, but no verified evidence has ever emerged to support those claims. No confirmed sightings, no official documentation, no forensic reversal of the original ruling. The images most frequently cited have been analyzed and shown to depict unrelated individuals. Still, the rumors persist. And that persistence reveals something significant. When institutional failures occur, even through negligence, they create space. Space for suspicion, space for alternative narratives, space where uncertainty can grow into belief. Officially, the paperwork says suicide. The medical examiner stands by that ruling. The Department of Justice closed its investigation. No evidence of homicide has been publicly confirmed. And yet, Jeffrey Epstein never stood trial. No testimony, no full accounting in a courtroom, no definitive public reckoning. Whether his death was suicide, whether it was catastrophic negligence, or whether unanswered questions will linger indefinitely. The case is closed. The doubt is not. And sometimes, the most revealing part of a story isn't how it ends. It's how many people refuse to believe it ever truly did. Follow for more.